Hey Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook.
We are monsters. We give and we take.
For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read all types of books, primarily fantasy romance, so if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. Today's episode is the one with the TBR, April edition. If you don't know, this is my friend's themed trivia game. I follow the same trivia type game that they did in episode, the one with the embryos. There's a whole entire running playlist for this. I've been doing this for years, but I've changed up the rules slightly over the time. So make sure to check it out down below. But basically, there's 4 categories. I roll and get different prompts to go with it, and it is a whale of a time. But before we can address that, we have to address the elephant in the room, and we have to talk about, did I read the books that were on my March TBR, and if I didn't, what books am I getting rid of and unhauling, as that is the punishment that I have given to myself. Why? Because I'm notorious at making a TBR and not following it. And honestly, since implementing this has made me do much better. So I'm probably going to keep doing this. And it's making me get rid of books that, like, I honestly don't need to have live on my shelves. So, like, it's not a bad time. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I need to go to my video because I don't actually remember what books I said I was going to read, because I don't. We're not starting out strong because I said I would read Clown in a Cornfield. Was I going to be reading this so I could watch the movie? Abso-freaking-lutely not. I do not do scary movies. I have seen both trailers and those already give me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm for sure not watching a clown-filled horror movie when I also am scared of clowns. Def not. But did I read this? No. Am I still interested in it? Yes. But I'll probably pick it up around spooky time, since I'm not actually invested in seeing the movie. The next book I had to read was Of Blood and Aether by Harper Hawthorne, I'm pretty sure, and I am only like 50 pages into this book, so I'm not going to unhaul a book for it because I did start it with the best of intentions, and I am going to finish it. I'm not just going to leave it unread. I feel like people hear me say that and they go, yes you are. You have like a graveyard of unread books. I do normally, but this one I want to finish because I'm going to Villains and Vixens to hopefully meet this author, so I will finish that. So go me! And we have the book that keeps almost getting picked up and just not quite, and that is A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. I do want to read this book. You may not believe me, but I do want to read this. I do want to have insufferable second chance romance pain. But it's not my journey today. The next book I had to read was Lost and Lassoed, and you better believe I read and annotated that shiz. In fact, these are tabs that I need to replenish because I ran out of the colored tabs that I needed. I loved this book. It is actually, all of my thoughts are in a Patreon exclusive spoiler vlog, so if you want to join the Patreon to get access to that on Thursday, you're always welcome to. We do all sorts of things in the Patreon. We do exclusive readathons, extra content, extra sprints, the whole shebang. Okay? But anyway, this one was my favorite of the Rebel Blue Ranch series so far, and I'm so excited for Wild and Wrangled for Cam and Dusty's story, but top tier. Top freaking tier. Then I was supposed to read this chonker, and if we're being honest, I knew I was never going to get to this bad boy. I was living a lie. I'm not interested because I already tried to read it and got like 15-16% in and was not vibing, but I will try again one day, but that day's not today. And then I was supposed to read Don't Let the Forest In, and I did. I loved this book. This was another banger 5-star read. It was so beautiful and so exquisite. I can't wait to talk about this in my March wrap-up. It might be my best book of March. It was so freaking good. So with that being said, I'm 3 for 3. I read 3 books, one not pictured here, and I didn't read 3 books. So I have to unhaul a total of 3 books. Well, let's see what I'm gonna get rid of. I have 2 of them off the bat. I am unhauling Lightlark and Nightbane. You will not see my thoughts for thoughts for Lightlark have already come out in a vlog. Nightbane thoughts came out in a Patreon exclusive vlog. However, I didn't necessarily love Lightlark. Gave it like a 3.5. It was just okay. And then I got to Nightbane and I just could not give a rat's booty about anything that was going on in this book. So I decided to DNF, and so I'm done with this series. So I will be getting rid of these 2. And actually this wasn't hard to do because I also unhauled 2 books said I was going to unhaul 2 books in a recent video. So I'm going to count that. I can use this for this unhaul. If you think that I can't, come at me, bro. But I am unhauling The Ravens and the Monarchs because I read this. It was just alright. And I've heard that this is like not necessary at all. So I'm going to unhaul those. Okay? That's what I'm going to unhaul. I'm choosing to unhaul those. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get to roll number 1. All right, we're trying a new angle to see if I can film this from here, and I think this actually works well. So 25 is under It's All Relative, which means it can be a trending book or a book that I have to put on my TBR. And it's also red, which means it could be any genre that I want. Thank freaking goodness. So now, let's see what prompt is going to go along with that. And it is, read a book that you bought purely because of the cover. Okay, cool. Easily doable. The 25 had to be a book that I bought purely because of the cover. It could be any genre, and it had to be either a trending book or a book that I needed to have on my TBR, which is literally perfect because I needed The Wraith King by Juliet Cross to be on my TBR because this is my Patreon's book club pick for March and April. I typically read the book club pick in the second month so that it's fresher on my mind, but if this doesn't scream beautiful cover, I really don't know what does. I don't know a lot of what is going into this book, and honestly, I'm gonna kind of just keep it that way. I don't really want to know what's going on. I'm very excited to get to this though, because I also think that the Fairy Loot book for March is her newest book, Firebird. So I'm very excited to have a special edition of that coming. Okay, so 28 is Fears and Pet Peeves, which means it has to be from a new to me author, and it is blue, which means it has to be fantasy or romantasy. So that's always good. So let's see what we're gonna get. Let's see, let's grab this one. Okay, it's not focusing that great, but it says, shuffle your music and choose a book based off of the song. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So 28 said I needed to shuffle my music and choose a book based on the song. It has to be fantasy and it has to be a new to me author. That sounds a little tricky, I'm not gonna lie. Let's shuffle from, should we go from 2025 jams? I'm a little scared. All right, you're only gonna hear like 2-second clip of this. Here we go. Ready? I have to press play. River is the sea. So we could have a river, I guess, or a sea. Are there words to this song? Let me also look that up. I guess I have no words to go off on. It's an instrumental. Okay, called River is the Sea. So it has to have a river or a sea on the cover or a piratey book of some excursion. We're only going to put this on here because I was literally talking to Kelsey and Leandra and Brittany about this book a couple of days ago. And so I just found it funny because it has the word river in the title. And that is Long Bright River by Liz Moore, who also wrote God of the Woods, which I haven't read yet. Kelsey loved this. I think Leandra thought it was okay, and Neva just, I think, DNF'd it. But I am intrigued by it, so I'm interested to see. Because I do like lit ficky stuff sometimes, but I'm not a big mystery girly. And all I know is it says, 2 sisters travel the same streets, so their lives couldn't be more different, and then one of them goes missing. So, you know what? I'll give it a whirl. Why not introduce a little thriller every so often into my life? On to roll 3. So 47 is ancient history, which means it has to be an author I've read from before, and a pink, which means it has to be a romance. So let's see what I'm gonna be reading. Well, the gods are blessing me because I just have to read a secondhand book. Almost every book I buy is secondhand. Thank freaking goodness. So 47 was a secondhand book that had to be an author I've read from before, and it had to be a romance. And so I actually let my Patreon pick this because this is, they get to choose one book to add to my TBR every month, and I always pick one of these and let them vote on it. And so the options that I gave them were Knock to Katy by Carrie Lake, Loveless by Alice Oseman, Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, Juniper Hill by Devney Perry, and Powerless by Elsie Silver. I don't actually know what won at this exact moment, so I should go see. I know what was winning and then was tied. It was between Nocticadia and Juniper Hill, and it looks like in the end I will be reading Nocticadia by Carrie Lake, which I am very excited about, and I am reading this for ulterior motives. There are 2 reasons I'm reading this book. 1, because I wanted to, and 2, for a secret. A secret vlog that you won't see for a very long time, but I'm gonna be reading it. And I'm so excited. It is a dark romance academia professor-student moment, and that's all I really need to know. Going on to roll 4. So 34 is from Peers and Pet Peeves, which means it has to be a new to me author again. And it is orange, which means that it is more genre specific. Like whatever the prompt is, if it feels more fantasy, it'll go fantasy. If it feels more thriller, it'll go thriller. So it just depends, honestly. And so what we got is to read a book with mostly 5-star ratings on Goodreads. So I guess that would just mean if there's a book that I want to read and it has 5-star ratings the most, then I can read it. So that's kind of awesome. So 34 is to read a book with mostly 5-star ratings on Goodreads. And it has to be a new to me author and it can be genre dependent. And so this really lucked out. I was trying to make books work where they could, okay? And we are doing Blood Over Bright Heaven by M.L. Wong. Now, am I already 15% into this book? Yes. But I'm counting it because I need it to work and I need to read it and I'm going to mostly read it in April, okay? This I am reading for this vlog doesn't end until we get a 5-star collab with Leandra, Kelsey, and Brittany. We are all reading this for episode 2 and I chose this. Upon further reflection, do I think that we're all going to give this 5 stars? Maybe not. Maybe I should have looked into it further. But I'm not going to tell you whether I'm liking it or not. You will find out when it comes out on my channel mid-April. On to roll 5. Okay, so 10 is from Ancient History, which means it has to be an author that I've read from before, and it's red, which means I get to pick the genre again. April is really blessing me. Thank the stars for that. But this is not blessing me. This is not blessing me. It's not. Read the 10th book on my Goodreads timeline. I don't even know if that's going to be a book that works for this. So we will give it a try. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to pull a second prompt right now so that we can replace it, okay? Ooh, bet. Read a mood read! Killing it! So I rolled a 10 and it was to read the 10th book, funny enough, on my Goodreads timeline or, and I picked a different prompt in case I couldn't fit that, a mood read book. And it had to be a new to me author and I could choose the genre. And so I did try to do the 10 Goodreads one and I'll show you my little journey right here. And I landed on a book that I didn't even know of. And then the only book that I knew of that I saw was Nocticadia, but I knew that I was already going to have to read that, and that was not a new to me author. So after I gave up and I was scrolling for like ever and ever, I just decided to make it a mood read, and so I chose On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin, I think. I could be 100% wrong. I'm just popping up a picture right here, but this is Rachel from Raven Haired Readers book club pick for April, and I am so stoked because Mariana just read this and was obsessed with it and was like gushing about it so hard that whenever she gushes about a new fantasy romance book, I pick it up. And it has dragons in it. I mean, say a little bit less. Those are buzzwords for rainy. I cannot wait to read this book. On to the final roll. So 27 is Ancient History, which means it has to be an author I've read from before. And it is pink, which means it has to be a romance. Once again, we are hitting up romance era, I suppose. So let's see what we've got. This is not even fair. This is not even fair. This is not even fair. Read the book that's got the lowest average rating in your TBR on Goodreads from an author I've read from before. Okay, cool. Love that for me. And then we had 27, which had to be the lowest average rating in my TBR on Goodreads with an author that I've read from before and a romance. And I apparently didn't follow my own rules because this is not an author that I've read from before. So I'm going to have to take another look with you in real time right now, which actually is good because I didn't want to read the book that I was going to have to read. However, I don't have every book that I own physically or not on Goodreads. It's not updated perfectly, so I'm just going with the list that I have given this at this current moment, and it has to be the lowest rated romance from an author I've already read. Oh dear God, you're joking. You're joking. You're joking. I'm not reading that. Hold on. It's not Twilight. It's Life and Death. Twilight reimagined with Beaufort Swan and Edith Cullen. It's literally them roles reversed. That is a 3.49. And you're telling me that that is the book that I have to add to my TBR. I feel a very strong type of way about this. Oh dear God. Oh dear God, I don't want to read this. But alas, that's what's in store for me. Love that for me. lightning round time. Just a little refresher on how this works. I have 5 questions. I have 30 seconds. I have to see if I get at least 3 of them right within the 30 seconds, then I don't have to add a lightning prompt. If I get less than 3 correct, then I do have to add a lightning prompt. And we will see if the gods are with me today. They were last month. In 3, 2, 1, action. What does Joey say for food? Sandwiches. What was Monica's nickname on our high school field hockey team? Big fat goalie. In your best Janice voice, recite her annoying catchphrase. Oh my God. What is Ross's son's name? Oh, I know this. Ben. And who runs Central Perk? Gunther, I think. Are those all of them? Oh my gosh. I killed it again. Sandwiches, big fat goalie, oh my God, Ben, Gunther. I'm a friend's wizard. I got all of them right. Send your way, send your way. I did it.
You just started to sing from no more.
That was from Lion King. Thank you very much. And I got it. So guess what? No bonus book. No bonus book. Hey, no bonus book. High five. I got no bonus book. All right. So now let's pull my weird, eclectic little stack of what we have to read this month. I'm missing one book that I just don't have at the exact moment, but this is our stack. And I'm still crying about the Bella Swan situation. I'm just saying. I did not foresee a future in which that was ever going to make its way onto my TBR, if we're being honest. Now that that damage is done, let's talk about other books that are going to be making their way onto my TBR for April. And I want to start by saying I am not doing any readathons in April. I am just living life. What a freeing feeling that must be. Okay, I want to start with any book club books that I have to read. So I am going to be reading Lady of Ashes, which is the 3rd book in the Lady of Darkness series for my top tier Patreons book club. However, I will also be finishing Lady of Shadows, which is the 2nd book, because I have not finished this yet. I'm like 50% in. Am I enjoying it? Yes. I've just been distracted by other books. So both of these will be the main priority, especially because I'm supposed to be starting this in... No. Am I supposed to have already read this? And this was March and April's pick? If it was, I'm slacking greatly. I need to get it in gear. And then like you already saw, I said that I was reading the Wraith Club for also my top, not my top tier, but just my Patreon's book club in general. So I'll still be reading that. And then I don't have this yet because it hasn't come out yet. But for my Tortured Readers book club that I co-host with Katy, we are reading Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. But with even more special is that Vanessa and Bree, the hosts for Prose Book Club, had also chosen that same book for April. So we have decided to combine forces and we will be doing a joint buddy read with book clubs. And we are actually going to do our all-day reading sprints together over a weekend, which I believe we picked April 5th and 6th. So we'll be starting on my channel and then going to Vanessa's, and then the next day we'll be starting on Katy's and going to Bree's. And so we're going to get to buddy read this book all together. I'm very excited for that because I can't wait to read this Abby Jimenez. They get better and better each time. Then let's just talk about buddy reads in general that I will be getting to. I will hopefully finally be getting to read Gothicana with Neva, our buddy read that I've been pushing off for 5 ever long. And yes, this is a special edition. And yes, I've heard this book is bad. And so I'm scared that I'm going to be getting rid of this very soon, even though it is very pretty, very stunning. But I'm still excited to read it nonetheless for now because I'm going to give it some hope. But I will be buddy reading this with Neva. Okay, the next book we have is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, which I actually just picked up recently. It is very pretty. Stunning special edition from Barnes & Noble. And I am buddy reading this with Danni, Nell, and Leandra because I kind of just latched into their buddy read group after they started reading When the Moon Hatched. And then a lot of them didn't like it. So then we tried reading another book. And then a lot of us didn't like that book. And then we tried again. And it was my pick this time. So I picked Sword Heart because I've heard it's like a cozy-ish fantasy romance. And I feel like I'm starting to find what I like about cozy. And I have a hit-miss relationship with T. Kingfisher, so I figured this was a good place to start. I don't know a lot about this except that there is a girl. She either hates her family or something happens and she finds a sword and she tries to like unalive herself. But then out of the sword pops a genie that is basically becomes her bodyguard and has to protect whoever wields the sword, which is her. And then they go on an epic adventure together because someone wants the sword or the genie, I think. So I don't know a lot more than that. But we're going to give it a try. And I'm doing a secret buddy read with Leandra from the TBR 0. So I will not disclose that information to you at this time. And then I'm gonna hold up this book, even though we're not reading this book, we just read this book, we're reading the sequel. I will be reading the sequel to The Perfect Marriage. I will be reading The Perfect Divorce, buddy reading it with Nell and Vanessa, because I buddy read the first book with them, and we all really ended up enjoying it, and it was a fun popcorn thriller, like head empty book. So I'm excited to see what the sequel's all about, which I can't tell you obviously, because that would ruin it for everyone. And then last but not least, let's just talk about a couple other books that have to make it onto my list. I have to add Ocean of Sin and Starlight by Karina Halley on here because that was a Patreon pick from 2 months ago that I still have not finished. I have to also continue to put on Drown the Sea because I, once again, did not read that. And that is like where my patrons get to put a book in a jar for me. Actually, you know what? We get to add it again and see if I still get that or if I get one of my other options. I'm probably still going to get that, but we did just add it again. And I will screenshot here so you can see what book I end up getting. I would laugh if it wasn't Drown the Sea. Of course it's going to be Drown the Sea. Of course it's going to be. And it is. Drown the Sea again is on my TBR. So maybe I'll read it this time. Who freaking knows? Then for my next episode of Reader Release, I figured I would let you know one book that has made its way onto the TBR, and that is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. And I'm actually very excited to get to this because I've heard it's weird girl horror. And I love a good weird girl moment. And the last book that I'm going to put on my TBR is an arc that I actually just got. I'm so excited to read it. It is a fantasy romance that Rachel read a couple of months back, and I can't wait to read it. And it has dragons, and it's called A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. It comes out the end of May, so I'm excited to get to this arc eventually. And then there are some other books that I need to read, but I'm not going to share them with you right now. They're secrets for other things. So with that, my friends, thank you for coming to the end of this video with me. If you got to the end of this video, let's do a ring emoji for The Perfect Divorce because that's just what popped up in my mind. And let me know what is a book that you have on your April TBR. Let me know if there's any readathons that you're participating in because I would love to know that. And I just want to give a special shout out to everyone in my Patreon because you are the true OGs, the people that love and support me, and I love you so very much. If you want more information on it and all the extra things that we do to have fun over there in apartment 20, then make sure to look at the information underneath this video. And with that, my friends, I will see you, my friends, in a video very soon.